Hey everybody, I got a request to go in a little bit further into Marc Ribot's solo for Telephone Call from Istanbul, specifically the theory behind it. So this lesson is going to be about target notes, which are notes of the chords that are happening and how we can use those to kind of shape our solo. Okay, so here we are talking a little bit more about target notes. Now the idea of target notes is that there's notes inside of every chord that when you're improvising, you use them to aim your melody at. So in the specific example of Telephone Call from Istanbul, the chord change is F minor to B flat minor to C7 back to F minor. So a little bit of what Marc Ribot is doing is using target notes to aim his blues playing or his playing towards specific notes. So first things first, let's think about the notes that live in these chords. Our F minor is obviously a bar chord there. If we add the thirds to it also, we get an F minor arpeggio. Very nice. Also, let's look at our B flat. There's our B flat minor. Again, if we add the thirds to it, our C7, that's not a very useful arpeggio form. Some people would probably do. I'm not a big proponent of learning too many scales or too many arpeggios. I think in terms more of, I have a chord, I have licks that go with that chord. And I think that's the way a lot of jazz players think and a lot of blues players think. A lot of times my students will ask me, I need to know more scales, I need to know more arpeggios, and yeah, obviously it's really fun to know all those things and there's lots of interesting ones out there, but in real life practice you just don't have the time to play every single chord and chord scale as chords are flying by. So in this song, I'm going to aim for the thirds of each chord. The third is the sweet note of every chord. It's the note that defines the sound of it. So for example, in my F minor, I'm going to aim for that A flat there, because that's the one that really says F minor to me. In the B flat minor, I'm going to aim for that D flat there. In my C7, I'm going to aim for this E here. So I made a little loop with my loop station here. Hopefully we can hear that pretty well. I might turn it up a little bit. So again, first I'm just going to go through and show you. I'm just going to aim for that A flat on the F, and here we go. D flat. If I wanted to be a little fancier, so the key is, with target notes, you don't have to get there the second the chord changes. It's just kind of as the thing is happening, I'm halfway aware of what's going on behind me in my imaginary band and what chords are happening. And so I'm soloing, I'm having a good time, making up melodies and feeling really loose and free, but there's a little part of my brain that's going, hey Eric, here comes the B flat. Here comes the C. And that's a hard thing to do. As a rock player primarily, we're so used to just feeling loose and free in our blues scale. And don't get me wrong, I love the blues scale. I love the box, and I think there's a lot of great players that stay inside the box and do wonderful work with it. But this style, you add that little bit of mind awareness of like, hey, by the way, here comes a different chord. So again, I'm going to go through that, aiming for my A flat when it's on the F minor, aiming for my my D flat when it's on the B flat, aiming for my E when I'm on the C. And now I'm just going to let this play back. Hopefully you have your guitar in your hand. I'll kind of be your coach here. I'm going to kind of see if you can do that. I'm using mostly a blues scale. I might add some notes from minor. Okay, well, that note's real not in minor. Okay, here we go. So you're going to aim for the A flat, the D flat, the C, the E on the C, and then that A flat again. So we're aiming for the A flat. Here comes the D flat, and then that E, back to that A flat. So again, here's the F chord. Here comes B flat. Here comes the C7. Back to the F minor. That's the idea. That's the first thing of what is going on in that solo. There's a little more, well, there's not a little more, there's a lot more that's going on, but like if you're not familiar with that concept, that's a very useful one to know. It's true in any chord change in any song. So it works in major, it works in minor. It's just a matter of thinking about what chords you're actually playing over and then looking at them and seeing what notes you might want to aim for, you know, in between cool licks that you already know. It's kind of just adding this little bit of like, hey, I know what's going on behind me. Well, I hope that is helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching, and happy guitaring.